are you?
Hey, Rachel.
So obviously we know Bumper, and we kind of have seen him grow throughout all of the Pitch Perfect movies and now into the show from the guy who was not necessarily an asshole, but he was like I'm the head honcho into this man who kind of is struggling to find his place. And so it has been the most fun for you in getting to go on this journey from the start and all the way up into Bumper in Berlin.
Well, let's admit it, Rachel. Bumper was an asshole in that first movie. I was a villain, and I nailed it too well. No, it was fun to see him grow because the first movie, you're right, he was a total jerk. And then the second movie, you started to see like the crack in the facade, and you're like, oh, is there a sweet person underneath there? And then I wasn't in the third movie, so this was like just personally when Elizabeth pitched me the idea for Bumper in Berlin, I was like, oh, good. Like Pitch Perfect meant so much to me in my life, in my career. I've met some of my best friends through these movies, and so I was just kind of leapt at the chance to get to do it again and kind of put a bow on the whole Pitch Perfect experience for myself. And just as the character Bumper, we haven't seen him since the second movie, so there's been 7 years, and I thought it was such a smart idea for Elizabeth to choose Bumper as the spin-off character, because you could see most of the other characters in the Pitch Perfect world going off and doing well in their lives. But Bumper, you could imagine he was just a sad sack and didn't do anything with his life. And that is exactly where we find him. And he's a softer Bumper where life has beaten him down. And I hope that audiences can find themselves rooting for Bumper, even though he definitely was the villain in the first movie.
Yeah, and I think you have this way about you when you're acting, because I was in college when Workaholics came out, so of course all of my friends and I were like, I love this TV show. And as the self-appointed Adam of my friend group, it is like that show, there were moments where you were like, what is he doing? Like, why is he doing these things? And it's bad, but you're still like, no, I love him. And Bumper is kind of falling into that where you're like, why do I care whether or not he succeeds? But you do. And this show in particular is so much fun. It's a gift. We're all like, whatever Adam Devine chooses to do, we're gonna root for it. But in this show in particular, it's very fun because you're also reunited with Sarah Hyland. We have like within the episodes we've already seen, we saw him already mess up, and royally so, where she was way more willing to forgive him than I think most people would be. But it's great to see that kind of progression where he genuinely feels bad about what he did. And how did you guys all kind of like work on that aspect of Bumper? Like, because it is fascinating to see how much his character has grown, and it's still the Bumper that we know.
Well, Megan and I, we talked about that a lot when we were developing the show, and she was like, and we both were, but she was like, I really want him to grow as a person. And I'm like, absolutely. It can't be the same Bumper that you saw, because it's been 7 years and people do change within that time frame. And especially you change a lot from the time you're in college to 10 years out of college. So so I was excited to show Bumper as more of a fully realized human being as opposed to just the villain in the first movie.
Yeah, and that is all the time I have, but I just want to say, like, I genuinely think you're one of the funniest people on this planet, and I think this show is so much fun, and I can't wait for people to get to see the rest of the season. And I hope we get more Bumper just in general. I don't know how, but I hope we can continue to see Bumper going in different cities.
Yeah, I would love that. Bumper in Budapest. Let's do it.
Thank you so much for talking,
Rachel.
Thank you.
No problem. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.